Hello, everyone, and welcome to Crossroads, the show where difficult questions meet careful conversation. I am Ian Atienza, your host for today's episode. Today's episode explores a sensitive and deeply personal topic: euthanasia. Its ethics, its human impact, and its implications for policy and care. Quick note before we begin: some listeners may find this discussion challenging. Please take care while listening. Joining us are two panels with differing views. On the affirmative side, mga Liag, Navarro, and Javier. On the negative side, Notada, Galicia, and Tolosa. Our goal isn't to win an argument, it's to understand. We'll keep the conversation respectful, avoid interruptions, and stick to clear time limits. I'll step in as needed to keep us on track and clarify terms. No one on this program speaks for every experience, and we encourage you to continue learning after the episode. You'll find resources in the show notes. With that, thank you to our guests for their courage and joining this dialogue, and to you for listening with care. Let's begin. But before we start, a few ground rules are needed. Number 1, we'll keep remarks respectful, no interruptions, and especially no personal attacks. Number 2, if a claim needs clarity, I'll step in briefly, then we'll return to the flow. Listeners, this topic involves end-of-life decisions. Please take care while listening. We begin with opening statements. Each speaker has 90 seconds. Affirmative side first, then the negative side.
I believe euthanasia is about giving people the choice to end their suffering. There are times when a person's illness brings pain that medicine cannot take away. In those moments, keeping someone alive may also mean keeping them in pain. Allowing euthanasia does not mean we value life less. It means we also value the quality of life. If a person in a clear state of mind decides they no longer want to suffer, that choice should be respected.
Thank you, mga Liag, for sharing your stance to us. Next speaker, please.
I believe euthanasia should not be allowed. Life is precious, and even in pain, it still has value. Ending a life on purpose, even with consent, can lead us down a path where life is treated as less important. There are also risks. Some people may feel pressured by family, by money problems, or by fear of being a burden to choose euthanasia, even if deep down they want to live. Mistakes can happen, and once life is gone, it cannot be taken back. Instead of ending life, we should improve care for the sick and dying. Modern medicine and strong emotional support can give people comfort in their final days. For me, saying no to euthanasia is not about ignoring suffering. It's about protecting life and making sure every person is cared for until their natural time comes.
Thank you, Notada, for sharing your opening statement. We appreciate that, but before we move on, let me give a quick information first. Euthanasia means ending a patient's life with their clear consent to stop severe suffering. It's not the same as stopping ineffective treatment or giving strong pain relief. Our discussion looks at ethics, safeguards, and care. Up next on Crossroads, yes, no, or maybe.
Stop talking when I'm talking!
You don't get my point!
You don't have rights to decide for their lives.
Now, for claim number 1, euthanasia allows terminally ill patients to end their sufferings with dignity, respecting their rights to make decisions about their own bodies and lives.
I support euthanasia because it helps us recognize the importance of individuals' rights and dignity. For terminally ill patients who are suffering immensely, euthanasia can be a compassionate option that allows them to end their pain on their own terms. By defending this claim, we support the idea that people should have the freedom to make decisions about their own bodies and lives, especially when facing irreversible illness and loss of quality of life. This perspective promotes empathy and respect for human autonomy. I believe that every person has the right to decide for themselves. If someone is suffering from a terminal illness and has no hope of recovery, and they just want to end their pain with dignity, why should we stop them? It's difficult for the patient and their family to watch their bodies slowly deteriorate, and their suffering continue. Instead of forcing them to live in this condition, it is more humane to give them the option to end their pain. This is not an act of giving up, but rather a decision to have control over one's own life in the face of immense suffering.
But legalizing euthanasia can lead to abuse, especially from people who are vulnerable, like the elderly, disabled, or those living in poverty. These individuals might feel pressure to choose euthanasia because they feel like a burden or because they cannot afford proper care. Even if it's legal, there's no guarantee that every decision will be free from outsider influence. Life will be protected, not ended, especially when people aren't at their weakest.
Euthanasia should be legalized in the Philippines as an act of compassion and respect for personal autonomy, ensuring that individuals facing unbearable suffering from incurable illnesses have the right to a dignified death. Every person has the right to make decisions about their own body and life. For terminally ill patients who are suffering, choosing euthanasia is an exercise of self-determination. Keeping someone alive through machines or extreme medical interventions when there is no chance of recovery often prolongs agony rather than preserving dignity. Euthanasia provides relief when medicine can no longer heal. While the Philippine Constitution protects life, it also values human dignity. Forcing patients to endure unbearable suffering when they wish to die undermines that dignity. Other countries such as the Netherlands, Belgium, and even Canada have legalized euthanasia under strict regulations, proving that it can be ethically managed without abuse. The Philippines can adapt similar safeguards, balancing compassion with legal oversight.
Euthanasia can provide a compassionate ethical solution, ensuring a better outcome for those individuals who choose to not suffer in pain. The life of an individual has been suffering for long can easily deteriorate their quality of life. This can make their life difficult, and for them to make a choice to live is no longer desirable. In several countries, euthanasia has been done successfully by legalizing the implementation of euthanasia laws. Additionally, countries had shown euthanasia is not just done by ending a life. It's ensured that this regulated process is performed safely and ethically to prevent abuse. This proved that it can be managed responsibly by legality and with the right people who can help these individuals to die with dignity. It's not just by making a choice for these individuals, but for them to receive psychological support, considering it can be pressuring for them to decide life or death. It's by supporting how they face their unbearable conditions, reducing anxiety, and even long-time suffering.
Thank you to all our speakers for sharing your thoughts on the first claim. We now move on to the claim number 2. This one focuses on a common concern from those against euthanasia, that legalizing it could open the door to abuse, especially for vulnerable people such as elderly, those with disabilities, or people living in poverty. Okay, our claim number 2. Legalizing euthanasia risk abuse, especially for vulnerable groups like elderly, disabled, or poor, who might be pressured into ending their lives.
Not everyone may be in a position to make such a decision freely. Vulnerable groups, such as elderly, disabled, or financially struggling individuals, might feel pressured to end their lives, even when they don't truly want to. Supporting this claim is important because it raises awareness of the ethical responsibility to protect those who cannot protect themselves. It also encourages us to question whether euthanasia could be misused or abused in certain situations. If we legalize euthanasia, how can we be sure it won't be used for the wrong reason? What if an elderly or disabled person is pressured into euthanasia because their family doesn't want to take care of them anymore? Life is scared and should be protected. If we make euthanasia legal, it's almost like we're saying that sometimes a person's life is not valuable anymore. This could open the door to abuse. It's crucial to prioritize care and support for patients instead of making it easy for them to end their lives.
We need to respect personal choices but also ensure that people are not making decisions under stress, pressure, or lack of support. This issue requires careful thinking, clear guidelines, and respect for both life and personal choice.
Well, inako palain cares asenya. It as though dominate a varying some can Dios resolve. Denying a person the option of euthanasia in these circumstances is to condemn to prolong unnecessary suffering against their will. Respecting autonomy means allowing individuals to choose the timing and manner of their death, especially when facing unbearable pain and the terminal prognosis.
Thank you for those responses to claim number 2. Let's now move to claim number 3. This claim reminds us that the debate over euthanasia is not only about laws or medical practice. It is also a moral and ethical question. It asks us to think about the value we place on human life and about society's responsibility in either preserving that life or allowing it to end. Claim number 3. The debate on euthanasia is not only a legal and medical issue, but also an ethical question about the value of human life and society's role in preserving or ending it.
Everyone has the right to fulfill their life and how they want it to be. However, if euthanasia is planned to be legalized, it should have ethical and safe access for it to progress. But for those who don't see life as an option, it's important to see and support and understand the process they did. Before accepting the outcome, it's between life and choice that these individuals have fought for in the end. I agree that euthanasia is a profound moral issue. Being alive, even a mercy, can change society's view of life and death. We must consider its long-term impact on our morality and ethics as a society.
Euthanasia is not about giving up on life. It's about giving people the chance to end their suffering when there is no cure and no relief. It respects the person's right to decide for themselves without forcing them to go through pain they do not want. With clear rules and strong safeguards, we can make sure this choice is safe and truly voluntary. In the end, it's about compassion and respecting human dignity.
I believe that euthanasia must remain illegal in the Philippines because it violates the Constitution, the revised penal code, and the moral responsibility of society to protect life. The 1987 Philippine Constitution, Article 11, Section 11, guarantees the protection of human dignity and the right to life. Euthanasia, by definition, deliberately ends life, and therefore contradicts this fundamental principle. The revised penal code Article 253 punishes any assistance in suicide. If a person actively causes the death of another, it is classified as homicide or murder under Articles 248 and 249. Thus, euthanasia is not a compassionate act, but a criminal offense under Philippine law. Legalizing euthanasia could lead to abuse of the vulnerable, the elderly, disabled, or terminally ill might be pressured into choosing death due to medical costs or family burden. Instead of euthanasia, the state should strengthen palliative care and hospice service, ensuring that patients live the remaining days with comfort, dignity, and proper support.
Thank you to all our speakers for a thoughtful discussion. We're now at the closing statements. This is your chance to summarize your position in simple, clear terms, no new arguments, just your key points and what you want listeners to remember.
Every person has the right to make decisions about their own body, especially when they are terminally ill and in constant pain. That there is no hope for recovery. Allowing someone to choose a peaceful and dignified death is an act of compassion. It's not about giving up, but about respecting the person's choice to end unbearable suffering with the help of medical professionals and their family.
If we allow euthanasia, we risk treating some lives as less important, especially those who are old, sick, or disabled. Instead of ending life, we should focus on giving care, comfort, and support until the very end. Protecting life is not about ignoring suffering, it's about making sure no one feels their only option is to die.
Thank you to all our speakers and to you, our listeners. This was a sensitive topic, and you care and respect means a lot. If today's discussion raised questions, take a moment to reflect or speak with someone you trust. And if it brought up difficult feelings, please check the show notes for support resources and crisis lines in your area. Once again, I am Ian Atienza, your host, and for the meantime, take care of yourselves.